Hello everyone, I'm Matthew Johnson, owner of Elite Singer, and for this video we're going to be analyzing Amorphis performing the Bee live. I am very excited for this one. Amorphis is one of my favorite death metal bands, and we're going to hear a little bit why in this video. I did skip the intro just a little bit as everybody was coming onto stage and everything, but let's dive right in and see what they got. All right, got to talk about that one right off because we're going to be seeing a lot of death metal growls on this one. You'll notice right out of the gate that he's rounding his lips a lot to create that sound. When you're doing any type of growl or scream type of thing, the resonance that you create with your mouth shape, with your vocal tract shape, is so important for the vibe that you're giving. So if he were to open up his mouth too much, it would make too much of a brighter type of sound, but by rounding it out, it gives him a darker, much deeper type of tone that he's going to use for all of his growls throughout the song. And it's repetitive, right? I mean, in general, we're hearing the same riffs for the guitar the entire way through, but it really sets the mood. And something that I like a lot with Amorphis in general is that the lyrics that they use are so specific and so well written. It tells this whole story that's just accentuated by the instruments, and especially the change between clean singing and the growls that they tend to use. That was a nice switch to clean vocals, right? From all of that intense death metal. Now, I can't really complain about long hair, right? Because, you know, hello. But I hope that as we're going through the video, we do get some more glimpses of hair out of face, how he's shaping things. I would love to be able to see that. Most of the time, we are hearing things go through this type of shape. Hopefully this doesn't blow out the mic. But if you create this type of rounded lip, tongue cupped, it sometimes makes it a little bit tricky to pronounce certain words, although I would say as far as death metal bands go, Amorphis is one of the easier ones to understand. Sometimes when you listen to, you know, people create these kind of sounds, it's like they're just speaking a totally different language on a totally different planet. But we do hear a bunch of words coming through in this just because of the precision that he uses in creating these sounds. But that flip to get into the clean singing is so crisp, and we're going to hear this a bunch as we go throughout this. So we're going to hear death metal growls and then immediately switching right over to clean singing. The hard part about this is, in general, growls use a little bit more breath pressure, a little bit more intensity than clean singing. So being able to go back and forth between them is such a cool skill. Once again, talks to the precision that they use overall. Nice switch back to nice. And we're hearing some vowel changes too. So right at the end of that, he's going from more of an shape to an really pulling back the tongue. And you can hear a little bit of that brightness coming into the sound in general, which is a very, very cool effect. Because of how wordy this is, there's one word in particular that stands out to me, and that's the word kings. There are certain consonants that encourage the vocal folds and the arytenoids, which is what's creating that. Gets a little bit more into vocal science and vocal anatomy, but that's what's creating the growl in this circumstance to fall apart and let go too much. So for a lot of the students that I work with on these sounds, if they sing a word like kings, that K, g, g, is going to make everything fall apart. It might even make them crack. Because everything is being told to let go and fall apart. So there's a challenge of kings being able to hit that consonant and hold on to that growl in spite of a word that tends to let everything go, that tends to loosen things up too much. So just wanted to give him props on that one. Nice. So that vowel, with how closed everything is, we hear that change in darkness. As opposed to if he opened up, totally different sound. Adds so much more intensity to it, so much more darkness. Oh, I can't get enough of it. It's so good. Switch back to super bass.
Inside the doors and sky, and when the tiny one encircles the others, to crawl inside the doors and sky.
I want to talk about that one. So he's saying the word halls, right? Halls. And there's a little bit of that lip rounding just to add that darkness and intensity into that sound. Another word that's very tricky to growl that he used is castles. And he skipped a couple of the consonants, or rather he cut them short. So instead of singing castles, he got right away from that S. Castle! He went right through it. Because if you sustain that a little bit too much, it makes the growl a little bit more difficult. So there are a couple of tricks that we can use to kind of help maintain that consistency of sound going throughout this. One thing that I do want to say too, a lot of things that I want to say, a lot of cool things to talk about here. There is so much calm as he's creating all of these different sounds. There's so much relaxation in it. He's not showing any neck veins. He's not lifting up the head. He's not getting red in the face. Whether he's singing clean or distorted, he just looks cool as a cucumber the entire time. And it's such a big testament to the skill that he has and the balance that he has in creating these sounds, because that's what we want, right? It takes away a lot of the fun if you're watching a performance and it looks like the larynx is going to jump out of their skulls from working so hard or by tightening up too much or squeezing everything. This kind of power stance that he has the whole time just shows that he is loosened up and totally in control of every sound that he's making. Totally cool. So cool. So cool. It's a little transparent. It's a little about the crowd a little bit. Surprised about that a little bit. There was such a big build in all the instrumentation to go back into the clean sound after having such intense distorted sounds and growls. It's interesting. I feel like it pulls back on the energy just a little bit, but I'm sure it's going to build back up. I think I'm I'm seeing this, the microphone is kind of blocking it, but he's doing kind of a weird tongue thing. So when he's going into his sustained notes, there's a little bit of a kind of tongue cup going on there. It doesn't surprise me that he's doing this. There's a lot of weird tongue stuff that, you know, we do to growl and all that to create that darker resonance. I am a little bit surprised to see it in the clean sound. Doesn't necessarily mean that there's tension or anything like that. It's just a strange setup that clean vocals don't really need at all. It doesn't necessarily change the timbre of the sound too much in general. Just wanted to make a note of that.
Rolls inside the chosen sky.
Yeah, definitely.
When the tiny one settles the others to crawl inside the chosen sky. They lay goggles in order to keys. Relied to the empty halls.
Love that. I'm loving all of this. One thing to kind of keep in mind, you know, once again, we talk about how he's presenting himself, right? Always in control. If you look at different styles of rock and metal, the front vocalists do very, very different things. When you're looking at power metal and death metal and all of that kind of stuff, there's almost a stoicism to it. There's less movement. They're kind of in these power stances a lot. There are some styles where they're just totally all over the stage and they're moving around like crazy. But with all of that movement, sometimes it takes away a little bit of that power. So being able to like put one foot on the, you know, speakers and just stay there and hold these death metal growls, it's like, whoa, this person is in control and in the driver's seat the entire way through. But if you want to do a little bit of an interesting experiment, look at different styles and see how they present themselves on stage. It's very indicative of the style that they're doing. What a cool thing. What a cool performance. One thing that I love about Amorphis is, because I've listened to their studio recordings a bunch, I've seen, you know, a decent amount of their live stuff. Never live, although hopefully they tour close enough where I'll be able to do that. When you're listening to the studio recordings to the live recordings, there are so few differences between them. And I always get a little disappointed when I'm listening to a group and they sound awesome, and then you watch a live performance and it's like, what happened? Something got lost in translation. You know that they're kind of cheating some of the notes or they're cheating some of the techniques on stage because they can't sustain it for a full set, but they knew it would sound cool on the recording. No, Amorphis could do it on stage every time as well as they do it in the recording studio. And that is a sign of a really, really skilled group. I mean, if they could do that without, you know, cheating around things or doing multiple takes in the studio, they could just go on stage and do it. I love hearing that. I mean, that's what I'm looking for in any type of band or vocalist that I'm listening to. We talked about a lot of really, really cool things here. I hope you enjoyed. If I missed anything that stood out to you, let me know in the comments. I'd love to keep up the discussion. Let me know what you heard, what you were impressed by, maybe some stuff that surprised you. We'll definitely keep on talking there. And let me know if there are any other vocalists or videos that you want me to react to in the future or analyze. You could post a link down below. I'll check it out and we'll put it on the schedule for sure. And I'm looking forward to keeping up with that conversation. So thank you so much for joining, everyone. I look forward to seeing you soon for the next video.